Okay, so, man, honestly, I don't even know where to start this story. I'm like 32 now, right? And about 2 years ago, I had this job that, bro, even now when I think about it, I can't sleep. I'd been doing security work for like 10 years. Nothing crazy, office buildings, warehouses, places like that. I was used to night shifts, being alone, creepy places. That stuff didn't bother me. But then I got this job at this old funeral home near Mount Shasta, up in Northern California in the mountains, forests everywhere, mountains, empty roads all around. And look, the money was pretty good. Just walk around all night and make sure nobody breaks in. 10 p.m. to 6 in the morning. Seemed easy, but no, hell no. Because after like 3 weeks, the things that started happening, bro, I'm not joking. I haven't slept right since then. The funeral home itself was super old, like from the 1940s or something. 2 floors, basement downstairs. My little security office was in the back. Just me, a desk, and these security monitors showing the parking lot and hallways. Most nights, boring as hell. Walk around every 2 hours, check doors, make sure no homeless guys trying to sleep in the chapel. Then go back to the office and watch YouTube or scroll on my phone. But then, okay, so this was my third Wednesday there. I'm sitting at my desk around midnight, half watching the monitors, half scrolling on my phone. And then I see something on the parking lot camera. A kid, like maybe 13, 14 years old, standing at the very edge of the lot, near the street, just standing there, not moving at all, arms at his sides, just staring at the building. I'm thinking, what the hell? I watch him for like 30 seconds. He doesn't move, not even a little. So I'm thinking maybe he's lost or something. I mean, kids don't hang around funeral homes at midnight, you know? I grabbed my flashlight and went outside, walked across the parking lot to where he was standing. Nobody there. Like, nobody at all. I shined my light everywhere. Checked every corner. Nothing. No kid. No sound of anyone running away. Just an empty parking lot. I was like, okay, that's weird, but whatever. I went back inside and checked the camera footage just to make sure I wasn't hallucinating. Nope, he was really there for like 5 full minutes. And the second I got up to go outside, he just walked off camera. I told myself, just some bored kid. Then I started doing paperwork. But like 30 minutes later, I glanced at the monitors again, and he was back. Same spot. But this time, he was closer. Now he was like 50 feet from the front door, doing the same thing. Just standing there, staring. But this time I could see his face better on the camera. And man, he was smiling. I mean, not like a normal smile. A weird, empty smile. Like when someone gives you a fake smile for a photo. But his eyes, they looked completely dead, like he hadn't slept in days. Honestly, chills ran down my spine. I almost called my supervisor, but then I thought, what am I gonna say? Some creepy kid is smiling in the parking lot? I'd look like an idiot. I watched him on the monitor for another minute. He still wasn't moving. Then I was like, screw it. I'm gonna go outside and tell this kid to go home or I'm calling the cops. I grabbed my flashlight and headed for the front door. And the second I stepped outside, he was gone again, just like before. I checked the whole parking lot. Nothing. Went back inside and checked the cameras. He wasn't on any of them. Right then I was like, okay, no. Something's seriously wrong with this kid. Next night, same thing happened again. Thursday night, around 1 in the morning, I saw him again. Same creepy smile, but this time, he was at the front gate, the big iron gate. His hands were on the bars, face pressed between them, and he was just staring at the building, still smiling. And I'm watching the monitor like, what is this kid's problem? Now I was getting pissed. This wasn't funny anymore. I picked up my phone to call the cops, but then I saw him do something. Bro, I swear to God my stomach just dropped. He started scratching the gate with his fingernails, hard, on the metal bars, over and over. I could see it clear on camera. Then he grabbed the gate with both hands, and started shaking it hard, like he was trying to break it open. I was like, that's it. Enough. I grabbed my flashlight and went straight outside. I was crossing the parking lot, and then he saw me. He stopped shaking the gate and just stares at me, still smiling. I'm walking toward him, and with every step I'm getting more creeped out, because he's not backing away, just staring. I stopped like 20 feet away. "Hey!" I yelled. "What are you doing? You can't be here." He didn't say anything, just kept smiling. "I'm calling the cops right now," I said. "Get out of here." Nothing, just that same smile. Then I asked, "Why are you doing this? What do you want?" And then he spoke for the first time. His voice was super quiet, completely flat, like there was no emotion at all. He said, "I just want to touch one." Bro, chills ran through my entire body. I was like, "What?" He tilts his head slightly, still smiling, and repeats the same line. "I just want to touch one." "Touch what?" I asked. But deep down, I already knew what he was talking about. He doesn't answer, just slowly raises his hand and points at the funeral home, at the dead bodies inside. Oh, hell nah. I started backing up. "Get out of here or I'm calling the cops." He leans forward even more, his face pressing further between the bars. And in that same creepy flat voice, he said, "Can I come inside?" I didn't even answer. I just turned around and ran back to the building, locked the door. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely turn the lock. I ran to the office, checked the monitors. He was still there. I immediately called 911. "Hello, someone's trying to break in at the funeral home. He's at the gate, looks like a teenager. He wants to touch the dead bodies." The dispatcher said, "We're sending units. Stay inside. Keep the doors locked." Like 10 minutes later, the cops showed up. They talked to him. And the creepiest part, he was acting completely normal, like nothing happened. They didn't even arrest him, just put him in the police car. Then 2 officers came to me. "You're the guard?" one asked. "Yeah." "What did he say?" The officer looked kind of uncomfortable. He said, "This kid lives a few blocks away. He's been coming here every night for a week." "Why?" The officer said, "He wants to see a dead body. He's never touched one before." I literally felt sick. I asked, "You're not arresting him?" The officer shook his head. "He's a minor. Parents are on their way. We'll give him a warning and take him home." "He didn't technically break any laws," I said. "So he's just gonna come back?" The officer said, "If he does, just call us again." They took the kid, and I quit the next day. But the thing that still messes with me, that started after. Like 2 weeks later, I started feeling it at night, like someone's standing next to my bed, watching me. I still hear that voice. I just want to touch one. People always say, fear the dead, fear ghosts. But I learned something. Some people fear dead bodies, but now I know it's the living you gotta watch out for, because the dead can't hurt you. But the living, they find you, they watch you, and when they finally touch you, they never stop. Well, this happened when I was 29. Back then I was working night security at this old motel in Central California. Basically, my job was just checking the property all night, watching the cameras, making sure nobody was trying to break in or doing weird shit. The motel was near Highway 5, between Bakersfield and Fresno, literally middle of nowhere. I'd only been working there for like 2 weeks. First real security job I ever had. Boss showed me around, gave me the keys, the radio, normal stuff. But on the first day he told me something that honestly stayed in my head. He goes, "You can check every room here, every single one, except room 7. That room stays locked. Don't go in there, don't ask why, just stay away from it." I didn't question it. Figured maybe the room had water damage or black mold or something. I don't know. For 2 weeks I followed that rule. Never even went near room 7. But then, one night, everything changed, and what I saw inside that room, what came towards me, I still don't know what the hell it was, and honestly, I really don't think I was supposed to survive that night. Wednesday night, around 2 a.m., huge storm outside. One of those weird California winter storms. Rain was coming down so hard you couldn't even see properly outside. Wind shaking the windows like crazy. Thunder every few seconds. The motel power kept flickering too. Lights going dark for like 5, maybe 10 seconds, then coming back on again. Over and over, and the whole motel was completely empty. Not one guest, only my car sitting outside in the parking lot. I was sitting in the security office, scrolling on my phone, trying not to fall asleep, honestly. Completely bored. Then I noticed something. Room 7's door was slowly opening. And the second I saw that, something instantly felt wrong. I just kept staring at the monitor. The door slowly opened more, little more, then halfway open, and it just stopped there. I quietly said, "What the hell?" because my boss was very clear about that room. It always stayed locked. So either the storm messed up the lock, or somebody was inside. I grabbed my flashlight, checked my radio, then headed outside into the rain. Rain was hitting sideways. I slowly walked down the walkway, and finally, I got to room 7. Now the door was completely open. Moving a little in the wind, I pointed my flashlight inside. Couldn't really see much, just darkness, old furniture, that kind of stuff. "Hello?" I called out. "Security. If somebody's in there, come out right now." No answer, just rain outside. I slowly went deeper inside the room. The place looked old, like nobody touched anything in years. There was a bed frame, but no mattress. Dusty nightstand, curtains halfway falling down. Then I noticed something. An old box TV was turned on. Just static on the screen. Black and white snow. "Okay, this is creepy as hell," I muttered. I figured maybe somebody forgot to turn it off years ago, or maybe the storm messed with the wiring or something. I turned the TV off, looked around one more time, and honestly, the room looked normal again. So I walked back out, shut the door, and went back to the office. I got back to the office completely soaked. I was drying my face and hands with paper towels when suddenly I noticed something on the monitor. Bro, my heart legit dropped. Something moved past the camera really fast. I sat up immediately, rewound the footage. On the back alley camera, I saw this shadow. It ran from the parking lot straight behind the building, and it did not look normal. Straight toward room 7's back window. What the hell? And then I heard it outside, from room 7's direction, glass shattering, loud, like somebody smashed the window with something heavy. My heart started beating so damn fast. I grabbed my flashlight, and my gun too, then ran back outside into the rain. I pointed my flashlight at room 7's back window. The glass was completely shattered. Looked like somebody broke in from outside, or something broke out from inside. "Security!" I yelled, voice shaking. "I'm armed! Come out right now!" No answer, just wind, rain, thunder everywhere. I pushed the door open, then stepped inside. Gun in one hand, flashlight in the other. "Anybody in here?" I shouted. Nothing. I slowly moved deeper inside the room. This time there was this weird rotten smell in the air. And I clearly remember when I came in the first time that smell was not there. I moved forward, and then I saw them, 3 figures, standing near the couch, facing me. Bro, I just froze. Their shape looked wrong. Too tall, too skinny. "Don't move!" I yelled. "Hands up! Right now!" But they just kept staring at me, without moving. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely hold the gun right. I said, "Hands up!" I screamed. One of them slowly tilted its head, like it was curious or something. Then all 3 started moving towards me, not even walking, more like gliding. I panicked and fired 2 shots straight at them, but the bullets went right through them. My heartbeat went insane. In that moment, I seriously thought I was gonna die. And it didn't even affect them, they just kept coming. No, no man, hell nah. I started backing away. Then I fired 3 more shots. Nothing happened. They just kept getting closer. I got the hell out of that room as fast as I could. Almost slipped in the rain too. I got to my car, locked the doors immediately. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely get the key into the ignition. I started the car and took off fast as hell. Left that motel behind, and I didn't stop driving until I was like 5 miles down the highway. I pulled over on the side of the road, took out my phone, called 911. Something broke into the motel, I said, voice shaking. I don't even know what the hell I saw. Please just send somebody. About 10 minutes later, police showed up at the motel. I drove back there, told them everything. The door, the TV, the broken window, the 3 figures. One officer was looking at me like I completely lost my damn mind. The other one looked a little more serious. They went inside room 7. I stayed outside. No way in hell I was going back in there again. A few minutes later, they came back out. The officer goes, "There's nobody inside and none of the windows are broken." "What?" I said. "No, I saw it. The back window was shattered." The officer just shook his head. "We checked everything. All the windows are fine. Door was locked from the outside too. Doesn't look like anybody was in there. But I was just inside that room," I said. "I saw them, 3 people. I fired my gun." The other officer checked the walls inside with his flashlight. No bullet holes, no shell casings, no signs of gunfire. "No, man, I know I fired 5 shots." The officer sighed. "Look, it's late. Storm's bad. Power's flickering. Maybe you saw shadows or something. Night shifts mess with people sometimes." "I know what I saw, sir." But they didn't believe me. Said everything was fine. Then they left. I went back into the office, checked my gun. It was empty. All 5 rounds were gone. So, yeah, I definitely shot at something. I opened the security footage, rewound it back to when I went into room 7. The footage showed me walking around inside the room, then suddenly pulling my gun out and firing into an empty corner. Just an empty corner. No figures. Nothing there. Just me, alone, shooting at shadows. I just sat there staring at the screen, my hands still shaking. Either I completely lost my mind that night, or whatever was inside that room couldn't be seen on camera. I called my boss immediately, told him I quit. Right there, that same night. I still think about that night sometimes. What I saw, what I felt, those 3 figures. They weren't human. I know that sounds insane, but I know what I saw in that room. And honestly, the creepiest part came later. After I quit, I started looking into the motel online. Turns out room 7 actually had a history. Back in the 1980s, 3 people died inside that room. Carbon monoxide poisoning. Bad heater, apparently. Their bodies weren't found for 3 days. After that, the motel kept the room locked permanently. My boss never told me any of that. He just kept saying, "Stay away from room 7. Now I finally understand why. Because some rooms are supposed to stay locked. Some doors should never be opened. And if somebody ever tells you to stay away from a room, don't ask questions. Don't investigate. Just listen. Because whatever's behind that door might not want you leaving alive." Alright, so my name's Derek. I'm 28 and I've been working security at a mall here in Dallas for the last 3 years. It's not exactly some amazing job, but the night shift pays decent and most nights are usually quiet. This happened last month at Northgate Shopping Center, one of those older malls that's basically half empty now. My shift runs from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. Mostly just walking around the mall, making sure nobody breaks in. The loading dock was always the creepiest part of the job. It's this huge concrete area behind the mall where delivery trucks show up during the day. But at night, it's just me, a few security cameras, and a lot of dark corners. Honestly, at first, I thought it was just some weird delivery situation. But I was wrong. I was doing my normal rounds around 2 in the morning when I heard a delivery van pulling into the loading dock, which was weird because we never got deliveries that late. All the stores were closed, so I went to check it out. It was this white cargo van, engine still running, parked backwards into loading bay 3 like it was making a delivery. "Hey!" I yelled out. "You know the mall's closed, right?" No response. The driver's side door was cracked open, but I couldn't see anybody inside. I figured maybe the driver was unloading something in the back. Sometimes delivery companies screw up schedules and show up at random hours. I don't know why, but the closer I got to that van, the more uncomfortable I started feeling. The engine was running, but the entire loading dock felt weirdly quiet. No movement, no radio, nothing. I walked up to the driver's side. The cab was completely empty. Keys still in the ignition. Engine still running, but no driver anywhere. "Hello?" I called out. "Driver? You around here somewhere?" I opened the back doors and looked inside the cargo area. Empty. Just some moving blankets and straps lying around. No packages, no driver, nothing. At that point, this whole thing started feeling seriously wrong. Someone had driven this van all the way to our loading dock, left it running, and then just disappeared. I grabbed my radio. "Control, this is Derek at the North Dock. I've got an abandoned delivery van here. Engine's running, but there's no driver in sight." "Copy that, Derek. You want me to call the police?" "Let me check the security footage first. Maybe I can figure out where he went." I headed back toward the security office. The loading dock had like 6 different camera angles. I should have been able to see exactly what happened, but the second I walked into the office, I stopped. My coffee was still warm. I'd left it there maybe 10 minutes earlier before starting my rounds, but next to it was a cigarette butt, and it looked fresh too. Smoke was still drifting off it, and I knew for a fact it wasn't there before. I immediately sat down at the monitors and started rewinding the footage. Loading dock, camera 4, about 15 minutes back. There was the van pulling in, 2:03 a.m. Then the driver stepped out, and honestly, my stomach just dropped. The guy was dressed completely in black, and he was wearing what looked like a ski mask. Definitely not some normal delivery driver. But the worst part came next. He didn't walk into the loading dock. He followed the exact route I normally take during my security rounds, like he already knew my routine. I fast-forwarded through the footage, switched between different camera angles. The guy had been following me through the entire mall, always about 50 feet behind me. Every time I turned around, he'd hide behind pillars, duck into doorways, stay inside my blind spots. For 10 straight minutes, this psycho had been stalking me through the mall, and I never even noticed. I started switching through camera feeds as fast as I could. Loading dock, empty. Main corridor, nothing. Food court, clear. Then I saw movement on camera 12, the security office hallway. The guy was walking straight towards my office. No way. What the hell is this? I grabbed my radio. "Control, we've got an intruder in the building. He's been following me for the last 10 minutes and he's heading towards the security office right now." But all I got back was static. The radio was dead. I looked back at the monitor. The guy was maybe 30 seconds away now. I only had 2 options: stay there or run. I chose to run. I grabbed my keys and headed towards the back exit of the security office. But the second I opened the door, the hallway was completely black. Someone had shut off all the lights. And then I heard footsteps. Slow, deliberate, coming toward me through the darkness. I ran back into the security office and slammed the door shut behind me, locked it from the inside. My hands were shaking while I tried calling 911 on my phone. No signal. Same as the radio. I turned around toward the security monitors, trying to figure out where the guy was now. But someone was sitting in my chair, the masked guy from the cameras. Somehow he'd gotten inside the office while I was checking the back hallway. How the hell did you get in here? He slowly raised one hand. In it were the office keys. My keys. The same keys I thought I grabbed before running out. Then he slowly reached over and shut off the lights. The entire room went black. I just froze. I didn't even know what to do. Then I heard it. The sound of metal scraping against metal. Like the guy had just pulled out a knife. My heart started pounding so hard I could barely breathe. I quickly hid beside the old locker cabinet in the corner of the office. My hands were shaking while I pulled out my phone and somehow managed to dial 911. Please? Northgate Mall? Someone's inside, loading dock. Please hurry, I whispered. Then suddenly, I heard police sirens somewhere in the distance. The guy heard them too. He completely froze, and then he suddenly screamed, so loud it honestly felt like it shook the entire room. You shouldn't have done that. The next second, he ran toward the back exit. I heard something hit the floor. He dropped it before disappearing into the darkness. The police showed up about 10 minutes later. I was still shaking when they got there. Sir, the guy ran off. He was wearing a mask. He'd been following me through the mall for like 10 minutes, I told them. One of the officers looked around the office. You got security footage? Yeah, everything should be recorded. They checked the system. But when the monitors turned back on, every single file was gone. The entire night's footage, deleted, like it had never existed. The only thing left behind was the knife, and carved into the blade were the words, "Next time, there won't be anywhere left to hide." I quit the job the next morning, but sometimes, late at night, I still hear his voice in my head. You shouldn't have done that.